To do is look very closely at where the major areas of concern were and build a queuing system. So a long line per database. And then filter how many people can go through that line at any point in time. And also filter how they get their site collection upgrade. And the way we did that is by setting up a couple of throttles within the product, which I will quickly demonstrate. So, the main concern people have. What if we have too many upgrade actions all occurring at the same time? Well, the nightmare scenario is your memory goes through the roof and eventually runs out. And the IOPS on the SQL database and possibly CPU and memory and SQL also go up very heavily and cause impact on everybody else who's using the system. You're not going to let this happen. You could make it happen. I'm not going to try to demonstrate that, by the way. But let's not do that. So what we looked at and said, is there a way that we can filter these down to reduce how many that will occur at any point in time? And so what we decided to do, so once again, as it goes away, reduce the impact. So what we decided to do is add throttles to the system. And so think of them as big speed limits. The speed limit on the database, and these aren't the default values, by the way, I'm just using this as an example. The actual speed limits are set to 10 at a content database and 5 per web application as a default. But you can change them on an individual web application. You can change it at the content database level. And so you can have a database that can handle more because of the geometry of the hard disks that it's sitting on, for example. Or you may have one where you can't do as many. Or maybe it's more mission critical and you're worried about any sort of performance impact, so you reduce it down to just one at a time. So what happens when we have these throttles in place? Well, they apply in two possible ways. And the first one is, as connections go through, if they're allowed through the web application level, the in-process upgrade limit, then they hit the database limit. And the way the upgrades will work is first come, first served. The first person to go in and say, I want to upgrade a site collection, now gets that site collection queued in that database. Then the next one gets the next one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We keep track of this. So we're keeping track of which site collections have been queued, which ones are in progress, which ones have failed, which ones have completed successfully. If they failed unexpected, we can then pick that back up again and resume, possibly without the user ever really noticing, being barely inconvenienced, if at all. And the other side, though, is, in this case, too many requests have all come in at the same time. They've been allowed through the web application level, but then they got to the database and the database said, nope, three's enough. That next one, that's just queued. It can't go any further. That doesn't mean it's blocked. It just means that it will not occur immediately in the process of the web application. It'll instead be queued, and it will wait, and it'll either, the web application will pick it up when one of the slots becomes free, or the timer job will pick it up and do it. Once again, remove the connections, all the performance gets reduced, or the performance impact gets reduced. Now the other side, too many connections trying to go through on a particular web application, and your limits there apply. In this case, it's just difficult to diagram what the real numbers would look like, but setting the limit to 1 on the web application, it's 1 on every one of the servers that are running that same web application. But what you're getting instead is the first connection on one server comes through, the database limit doesn't prevent it. It's wide enough to allow it. The next one that comes through is from a different server, once again, allows it. But that third request, the second one off the first server, it gets blocked because there's too many in progress. I'll queue and I will wait. And if the user stays on the upgrade status page, it'll just stay there, queued, waiting, waiting, waiting. It'll refresh every minute. And then eventually, as long as the other site got unblocked in the queue, then the site will then pick up. Because as I said, it's first come, first serve, based on history. And that's what the timer job does too. If you say, I want to upgrade my site collection, and then as soon as it starts the upgrade, you close your web browser, well, what you've done is you've terminated the in-process upgrade, which means it's an unexpected failure. Unexpected failure. We'll stop moving on to that. But with this unexpected failure, you don't have a browser looking at this site anymore in the upgrade page. The process isn't doing the upgrade. The timer will pick it up, and it will pick that one up because it's the most recent one, or the oldest one in the queue, and then it'll do that upgrade.